Welcome. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to be talking about details and why they're so important in this business. Really, all we have are the details in this business, and that's how we get paid. That's how you get paid as a real estate agent. And so, if you don't know me, my name's Adam Ouellette. I've been a real estate attorney here in Broward for the past 15 years. I'm also a real estate licensed law instructor, licensed by the state of Florida to teach real estate school. And so I wanted to take all of the information that I've accrued over the years in terms of the litigation I've had to deal with, the issues that people have had to deal with in terms of real estate agents and Florida Real Estate Commission, DBPR complaints, and take a look at what are some of the red flags that you have to deal with in your daily business, and make sure that you avoid those things. And the details are one of the most important issues that you may have to deal with as time goes. Why is it so important? Well, when we talk about putting together contracts, forms, listings, offers, addendums, all of them are legally binding documents. And so when you put these forms together and you add information to them, you are ultimately the one responsible for the information that you put in the blanks. And buyers and sellers are looking to you because you're the one that has experience. You're the one that knows or is supposed to know the forms. And when they sign these things, if they don't know what they're signing, then in the end you're responsible for the information that you've added. So any kind of legal document that you're drafting, you've got to be extremely important what you're filling in the blanks and the information you're adding to them. If you've ever been to one of my contracts workshops, one of the things I tell people is that if you leave a blank that's supposed to be filled in, that doesn't have something like if not filled in 5 days or something to that effect, and you don't fill it in, you don't have a contract. And so if you have an attorney looking over your shoulder on any kind of form, you have a buyer or seller that wants to get out of an agreement that they've entered into, that's the first thing they're going to look at. So when you're using any kind of form, especially addendums, if you're doing the content, if you're creating the content, you got to be really careful. One, that you're not practicing law, but two, that what you're putting in writing is going to be as enforceable and as ironclad as you can get it. So the other flip side of that is, aside from the real estate forms and contracts and paperwork that you're doing, you have to watch what you say and what you promise. If you are asked questions about repairs or what it's going to cost, or even mortgage stuff or title stuff, you have to watch the answers that you're giving. If you don't know the answers, don't give any information. Reach out to a professional to help you with those things. This is one of the biggest things I see people get in trouble for, is saying, oh, that's not going to be that expensive to repair, when you don't know the answer to it, or answering legal questions that you may kind of have an answer to, but you just don't know in the end the proper answer. And so you just have CYA, you have to cover your butt. That includes just being honest and having as much integrity as you can. People, i.e. buyers and sellers, are going to be fine if you say, you know what, I need you to talk with your attorney, or I need you to talk with the title company or your mortgage guy or a general contractor to find the answer out to that question, because I just don't feel comfortable answering it, and I'm not the professional in that area. So the flip side of covering your butt is to document as much as you can. One of the things that I always suggest is to archive and back up all your information, all your emails, all your documents, all of the forms that you've used, anything that anybody's signed, and even the back and forth with contract negotiations. Everything that you do on anyone's file, keep it and document it, and then back it up. Archive it in a way where if you need to go back and look at it 5 or 10 years from now, you can find it easily and it's all there. The other part of backing up information is to take notes on your calls and the content of those calls. one of the things people ask me about is, I had a client call me. I dealt with them a couple years ago, and I just don't remember what happened in that transaction. And so when I do workshops for agents, I always tell them, if you can, and I understand that the day-to-day life is difficult to make a note of every single phone call because you're on the phone all the time. But in the end, if you can use a client relation manager to help you with that, something like a top producer, there's options out there, but from my review of programs, Top Producer is one of the best ones. And no, I'm not a marketing rep for Top Producer, but I suggest using those kinds of things because you can really keep each individual customer file organized, and you can take notes on what you talk to people about. So if you don't have time to do it that minute, at the end of the day, take a few minutes and mark down and write down what you talk to people about. That way, if there's ever a question, you have notes on it. I mean, I'm one that in a year from now, I usually cannot remember what I've talked to people about just because I have so many people calling me. So I always take notes on what I talk to people about, and if I don't have time, I try to do it at the end of the day. It's one of those things that will really help you if you ever run into an issue. Next, showing inspections walkthroughs. Never let a buyer put a contract on something. If at all possible, I get real world, but if at all possible, never allow a buyer to put an offer in on something sight unseen. Also, inspections and walkthroughs. Buyers don't have to be there for inspections, but it's always good that they are there if possible because they can talk to the inspector. They can ask questions as the inspection goes on. But the biggest no-no is to never do a walkthrough for a buyer when the buyer's not there. You're taking too much responsibility. If a buyer is expecting this, that, and the other to be repaired, or this to be fixed, or even simple holes in the walls and stuff like that, if you don't catch that stuff and the buyer's expecting you to do something that they've not told you about, then don't be surprised if they call you out on something when you've allowed them not to be there. If at all possible, never ever do a walkthrough without the buyer being there so that the buyer can make sure that the property is ready for closing and you don't have issues. So the goal, clearly, in every transaction, happy clients, raving fans, repeat business, right? Why did I do this webcast for you? Well, as a lot of you know, attorneys are always looking over people's shoulders, especially, as I've said, if someone's looking to get out of a transaction or they're just not happy with this, that, and the other, and they're at a point where they hire an attorney or they have a friend who's in personal injury or bankruptcy. Look at a contract. You don't want anybody second-guessing your work. And the fact is, if you do what you can to pay attention to the details and have the conversations backed up and have all your documents for every single customer, then you have a better chance at a binding contract, getting paid, and making sure that somebody can't back out of a legally binding contract because you didn't put in what you were supposed to put in, fill in the blank, or the like. Nobody wants to have their work second-guessed. That's why I did this webinar. I know some of it is common sense, but the fact of the matter is that it is always important to pay attention to the little small details that are involved in this business. I want to thank you for joining me today. I appreciate your time. I hope you got something out of this. We are always available to people if you have questions, if you're putting together an addendum. Call us. We're here to help you. And keep a lookout for future webcasts that are on this similar topic in terms of stay out of trouble and staying out of court. Have a great day, and I look forward to talking with you soon. Thank you.